Okay, let's kick off. So, welcome everybody, and welcome to the GSE security streams second session of the day. We're joined by our presenter Marina from IBM zSecure team. The session is going to be extended compliance reporting with zSecure Audit. Any questions throughout the session, please put them in the chat, and we'll field them to the speaker. Then we can come off mute towards the end of the session for any questions to wrap up. With that, over to you, Marina. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning to everyone. So my name is Marina. I have been working for the zSecure team for 8 years now. I have worked on different aspects of the product, but predominantly on the compliance reporting part. So this is zSecure Audit. And this is what we're going to focus on today. I don't know how many of you are familiar in general with the zSecure suite. I will briefly just talk about the different offerings, but the focus will be fully on zSecure Audit 3.1.0. What is new, what has changed. We have added a lot of new compliance standards that are currently available in zSecure Audit 3.1.0. So this is what I'm going to focus on. I will walk you through also to the different compliance standards for ZOS in the industry, and I will show you how we have automated them and how you can use zSecure Audit in your compliance journey. If my email is also on the slide at the bottom, if also any questions, I can also contact me directly. Okay, so I will share the agenda with you, and then we'll proceed further with the presentation. So for today, this is what we have on the planning. Just brief introduction in zSecure Audit for those that are not familiar with the product or with that aspect of the product. Then we're going to move into the different compliance standards that we currently support in zSecure AU.R. This is the rule-based compliance evaluation menu. Then we're going to talk about the DISA stick version 8 specifically. So last year, they had a main overhaul of the DISA stick. They rewrote the entire stick. So they moved from version 6. There was an interim version of version 7, which was more of a beta. And then the final version is version 8. For those that are familiar with this, those are main changes. So for the ZOS platform, we have the ZOS stick and the product stick. So this is what I'm going to present and talk about. So yeah, this is a new feature. Then we also have, we wrote together with this, we wrote and implemented a specific stick for zSecure. So this is now also available for those that have zSecure installed and need to be compliant or would like to make sure that they have safely installed and secured the product. You can use the zSecure stick to check that. And also, since DISA is now deploying zSecure stick, all the government organizations in US, that run zSecure, they also have to show compliancy. So this is also another reason why we have added that product. So again, this is something new in 3.1.0. Another standard, this is RACF benchmark CIS, published by CIS. So while this is mostly for government organizations, but it is adopted by many companies for the lack of other previous standards. Now we have something that is industry defined. It is very similar to this, and this is the RACF CIS RACF benchmark. I will have a whole section on that, so I'll further look into that later in the presentation. Okay, then we also have another CIS standard, which is DB2 CIS benchmark, that we have started our implementation journey now in 3.1.0, and we are continuing in the future. Then I'll briefly mention the standards that actually are no longer supported in 3.1.0 for those that are already using zSecure compliance menu, so that you know what has dropped. Then I will show you how you can make your own company compliance, company standard by using different standards or writing your own compliancy. Briefly talk about syntax. So this is more going into a deep dive into syntax. And then I also probably, if you have attended other conferences or GSE talks, there is zSecure. So I will also show you how zSecure Audit is integrated with the zSecure dashboard. And I will end with a live demo of the AO.R menu. Hopefully everything would be fine with that. So let's proceed. So this is what I have on the agenda for today on the menu. Again, any questions? Yes, you can send them and they will be passed on to me. Okay. First topic is zSecure Audit. So for those in the audience that are familiar with zSecure, you have probably seen that diagram before. This is the entire zSecure product family. As you can see, there is different aspects. So zSecure Audit is one component of the zSecure product family, and it is a tool for security management and control, for compliance, for auditing and reporting. You can see it here. I don't know if you see my mouse, but this is the part that we're going to talk about. It is available for the 3 ESMs that we have on ZOS. So it is for RACF, for ACF2, and for top secret environments. Also the compliance part that we're going to talk about. There are evaluations for RACF, evaluations for ACF2, and for top secret. It works with the ISPF user interface. So when I'm going to do the demo at the end, I will actually open the product from ISPF and I'll walk you through the functionality using the ISPF user interface. And with zSecure Audit, you can do a variety of things. I have not mentioned all the capabilities here, but you can do customizable security reports that provide an insight into the security status of your system. You can analyze your server, the ZOS system parameters, different subsystems that we have on ZOS, like KICS, IMS, DB2, MQ, and many, many more. And another aspect, and this is what the focus of this presentation will be, is to provide compliance information and show the compliance status, the compliance posture within a specific industry standard. These are the compliance standards that are currently supported in zSecure Audit 3.10. AO.R, this is the main menu that opens in zSecure Audit, and this is about compliance reporting. So we have worked, in the last years, we have added a lot of new features and a lot of new standards. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the standards that are published by DISA, by the Department of Defense, their information agency. So we have the ZOS STIC version 8, and we have that for ACF, for RACF, and for top secret. Then we go through all the different products that can also be installed, or subsystems that can be installed on your system. So there are also separate standards published by DISA. There are about 32 products, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment. And for which one of those, there are different standards with different versions also. They're all under version 6, but there are some differences between the products themselves. And then the new feature also, zSecure STIC. This is something that we released recently in March or in March or April. But this is the zSecure STIC. So this is a collaborative effort with DISA. They published it, but we gave them the security insight of how you have to secure a system. And we wrote the controls, and we worked together with their guidelines. So we have the PCI DSS. This is the payment card industry standard. And the two new other standards are published by the Center of Internet Security, CIS. So these are CIS benchmarks. Currently, we have FORACEF, and we have started working on the DB2 compliancy right now. So we have already been able to publish a number of controls. And if you click on the links below, source 1, 2, and 3, you can go directly to the different standards and you can download them yourself. Okay, so what is DISA for those? Many of you probably already know, but for those that are not familiar, DISA is Defense Information System Agency. They're part of the Department of Defense. They publish sticks on quarterly basis. And I will show you also a link of how you can download them, how you can get them on that page. So since they publish on quarterly basis, they also make a point that all older sticks, they don't want to make them available because they don't consider them, they consider them outdated. So this is understandable for many of the users. They cannot, even this themselves, they cannot move that fast to the new standards. But in general, let's see, I will try to see if the link would work now, and I will show you how you can obtain them. Okay, I hope you can. Okay, so this is their website. So this is what the sticks are. This is an industry standard. It is not a framework. It is actually a written set of rules and controls that you need to do in order to secure your system. Okay, so if you go to their document library. Okay. And then you need to select the operation system. So they have stick standards for many, many different operation systems, but we're only interested in the mainframe in this session. And if you click on normally, I'll go for updated. And you can see that the IBM zSecure Suite stick, it was published on January 24. So this is the updated. Then you have the IBM ZOS stick and all the products for ACF2 package. So this package contains many different products for ACF2, same for RACF and same for Top Secret. And those can be downloaded, and then they have a very nice application, which is the DISA viewer, okay, which looks like this. So you can import all the standards. So here I have a bunch of imported standards that are published by DISA. And if you click on any one of them, so I'll select the ZOS ACF2 stick. It gives you all the different controls here that we have. And this is the stick IDs that are published by DISA. So this is what we automate in zSecure Audit. So we take all those controls, those stick IDs, and we go over the content, their requirements, and we try to, we do automate them with zSecure Audit so that you don't have to imagine if you have to go manually or if you to go through an audit. This is, almost undoable. So this is what we base our implementation in zSecure Audit. So I just wanted to show you the tools that we're using in the background, and I'll move back to the presentation. Okay. All standards can be uploaded to DISA viewer. This is what I just showed you. And the sticks they provide, these are prescriptive technical guides. They're very strict. So in comparison to the industry standards like CS benchmark, the language that DISA uses is where you must have those settings. So they are very prescriptive and very specific on how to better secure your systems, your software that otherwise might be vulnerable. We are working closely with DISA on those controls, but we are implementing the way they have written it. So we do have an influence on how to improve the security, But until they change it, normally we will not make a correction in our way of implementation. So we're implementing their standard, which, although we do have bi-weekly or regular calls with them on advising on how we can make the standard in general better. Okay, so this is about the DISA and the standards that they publish. This is what is new in 3.10. There was back in the days, or back in the older versions, in version 6, they had one package that contained the ZOS stick and the ZOS product stick. Now they have decoupled it, and they have different ZOS sticks and different standards for the products. And they have, for those that are used to working with older version 6, it is very difficult to see the relationship between the old controls and the new controls. We have done a mapping ourselves, but in general, there is no direct correlation, although a lot of the controls, of course, are reused. For the products, they did keep the old stick IDs. So stick IDs this is what I'm referring to. So this is how it will look in version 8, and I also showed it to you in the viewer. And this is the stick ID, the identifier of the check that was in version stick. Some controls were outdated, so this removed them. And as I said before, older version DISA does not consider them enforcing anymore, so they remove it from their document library. Okay, these are about the product stick, 31 separate products. Well, now with zSecure stick we have 32. And they kept the version 6, but the release level differs per product. Okay. And as of based on the changes DISA made, we had to also make changes in our software to accommodate also many of the references DISA stick, and also to accommodate multiple standards and version, because DISA releases, they started releasing updates every 3 months. And for users, it will be impossible to just keep up with the new standard in 3 months, to do updates in 3 months. So we added new syntax to accommodate multiple versions also, so that you can have stick version 8.10, 8.11, 8.12, and so on. I will show you later in the presentation of how you can do that. And we have added references for, this is directly taken from the stick, for the vulnerability IDs, and for the CCI number, which correlates directly to NIST. Okay. This is our current coverage as of April 5, with the SSC that we released in April. So this is the ZOS stick, and this is the ZOS product stick. And these are the versions that we currently support. As you can see, there are many versions available. So before, in the previous releases of zSecure, we only supported one, the latest, while now we can offer evaluation based on multiple versions. Okay, and our coverage, we have a very high coverage, especially for RACF. Top secret, it's not used that much industry-wise, so we're still working on it, but we are mainly focusing on compliance reporting for RACF and for ACF2. Okay. And the new feature is the addition of the zSecure stick. So in January 2024, I showed you also on their website, they published that they have approved the IBM zSecure Suite stick effective immediately, and we were immediately able to also implement it and to release it to the users. There are 12 controls, 12 security checks. It is currently only for RACF, but also we're working with ACF2, with DISA to do some additions and to do some translations between RACF and ACF2. So we expect soon to also DISA to also publish the zSecure stick for ACF2. And as you can see, this is directly taken from our product. So they are the control numbers. So these are the stick identifiers, as you would call them. And we check different security exposures. So we make sure that your installation data sets, started tasks, user data sets, your zSecure resources are well protected. And also the zSecure class is active. So this is currently the 12 controls published by DISA and implemented by us. And this was on the DISA side. So as you see on the first slide, there are three main standards that are published by DISA. And then this is the other new standard CS benchmark with RACF that is published by CIS. And this is very similar to this. I mean, it is based also on NIST. It is based also on the sticks. And if you go on their website, you're going to see this is for IBM Z systems. So these are the benchmarks that are available that they publish and that are applicable to Z systems. And they have KICS, GB2, ZOS. So these are the three standards that we're currently working on. So we already have a very good coverage for RACF. This is the second version that we are supporting. Then we just started with DB2. We're currently supporting 60 controls for DB2. And KICS is also in the pipeline to come. So this is where we are. And for those that are familiar with IBM specific security standards, there were GSD 331. So this is now removed. This standard is no longer in use. It is no longer updated. So CIS benchmark can be used as a supplement for the controls that were checked in GSD. I will show you later on a mapping of that. Okay, so CIS benchmark recommendations. So although I call them control, they are more of a recommendation in contrast to DISA, where DISA is very strict, how certain aspects needs to be implemented, while CIS is more like, this is how we recommend, this is what we think, this is how we think you should secure your system. There are 219 recommendations that are published by CIS benchmark that are distributed among, you can see on the graph, it is a lot are about Unix, about JSOPs, and so on. There's a lot of authorization and access control. This is the biggest chunk, and this is also very well covered in DISA. There are also new parts that are not covered with this, mostly added in the cryptography and encryption section, JES2, and Unix. So those three sections here on top, this is something that you are not going to find in DISA right now. So there is no direct correlation there. So this is something where that CIS adds an additional value. And just some comparison for the ones that are thinking, shall we use DISA stick? Shall we use CIS benchmarks? Both are very, very good standards. There are some differences, so it's really up to what work better for you. But as I said earlier, CIS benchmark, it is industry defined, so that means that it is peer reviewed, it is different subject matter experts. They can submit their comments, their thoughts about how a system can be better secured. They are also based on NIST, like DISA, but again, they're developed more dynamically with an industry consensus, reviewed, republished. Yes, everyone can submit a comment there. You just need to register to the CIS security workbench. And there you can submit a ticket. The response is normally very fast, and people can leave comments there. So this is more like best practices versus the way DISA publishes it. DISA, though, they do have the product, the stick controls for the different products, and CS benchmark, it is specifically for RACF, and it is specifically for ZOS. And as you mentioned in the previous slide, in CS, they have added more ICSF recommendations. In DISA, we have 5. There are 13 new recommendations in CS benchmark, JSON class profiles, 15 new controls in CS benchmark, and Unix. 10 new recommendation in CS benchmark. So this is something that you will not get in DISA. Okay. Okay. And this is just to illustrate the controls that are new in CS benchmark. And we can say the profile protection in the JSON class. These are the identifiers. Here are the numbers in front. And this is more input Unix files. And the next slide will show you. So earlier I did show you the DISA stick viewer and how the control looks like. This is what the control or recommendation looks like in CS benchmark. And I will show you how we interpret it and how we implemented it. So this is a control that is about the console's resource class. It must be active. So normally we start first with the control identifier. So this is the number that you see on top, this one there. And normally this number points to a section in the CS benchmark PDF. So the section is this belongs to the identification and authentication section, system settings, and then the last number is the control itself. Okay, then we have the profile applicability, and this shows the level. If it's an essential control, something like a base control, base security, or level 2. So we have level 1 and level 2. Level 2 is an extended security control, something that is on top of the base control. It's normally not a standalone profile. And you should evaluate as an organization of what the impact of the level 2 will have when implementing it. Then the most important, essentially the essence of the check, is the audit section. And here we can see to verify that console class is in the list of active classes, so that the console resource class is active. So this is our automation. This is our check that we implement in zSecure. Okay. And zSecure evaluates the audit session, and returns the finding status of the control. I can tell you if the control has passed, if it failed, or if we don't know, and if an assertion is needed, a manual assertion. Okay, and references, as I said, CS has quite a lot of similarity with DISA stick. And in the reference section, they normally would point out to the DISA stick control, which is used as a base for the CS benchmark control. And about 70% of the CS controls reference the DISA stick rule. So we can see that they are quite closely related, plus CS offering more on top as I earlier mentioned. Okay. We have also worked on providing a mapping. You can see the CS control in zSecure and its relation to stick ID. So for users that are interested in migrating, this can be an interesting piece of information to see which member is shared between CS and the DISA stick. And this is how it looks. This is our current coverage of CS benchmark for RACF in zSecure. And we have, let me see if you can see that, where I have the mouse. You have the evaluation shows ZOS CIS. So this is the RACEV CS benchmark, and we have 179 checks implemented out of the 219 checks that are published. So this is about 81% coverage that you get in 310. Okay. And the last CS benchmark standard that was on the list, this is something quite recently. We have published it with the SSE in April 5. So this is the beginning of DB2 benchmark for RACEV. So in general, this is one of the other CS benchmarks that are related to Z systems. Again, very similar to RACEV, but for DB2. It can be downloaded the same way as CS benchmark for RACEV, and they have 78 recommendations, 78 controls. So RACEV, this was 290, and it is mostly about secure installation and configuration, access control, and audit. So these are the three main areas where in which the recommendations are focused. And these are the 16 compliance controls that we currently support in zSecure Audit 310. And this is the essence of the control. You can see that DB2 system dataset must be protected, Unix file system, and so on. So these are the controls. They can all be downloaded, they can all be viewed, and they can all be evaluated with zSecure Audit. Okay, and I also briefly mentioned in the beginning that we have standards that are currently no longer available in zSecure Audit. So this is the old version of the stick version 6. ZOS stick is removed currently, although we did keep the members for backporting reasons, but in general, you should be using version 8 and GSD standards. So for those that are using those standards, they are currently being removed from, or they have been removed from 310, as you can see. And we also, in our release notes in the 310 incompatibility warnings, we have added an equivalent. So if you're using a GSD control before, please look at the COS control ID. This would be the equivalent that you can use. So for those, again, using GSD, look at what is the equivalent in COS, and then you can use that. Okay. And we also have a tech note. We provide, let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, oh, okay, great. Okay, so we provide, okay. Okay, and there is a list of all the controls, all the versions that we currently support. So if you are interested, does zSecure support it or not, you can check it. It is all in this tech note that we are going to keep up to date from now on. This is the first time that we're releasing it. Customers were asking for it. So this is a document for everyone to use and to check what we support. Okay. And finally, the integration with IBM zSecurity and Compliance Center, or ZSSC for short. So in the background, we have the zSecure evaluation, but this can also be, ZSSC also shows full assessment of the following standards. So we have the standards that are listed below. So a little bit, although some of the other standards are not available in the ZSSC since it is a newer product, but this is anything that can be run now with those standards in zSecure. You can also do the evaluation in zSecure in ZSSC. If you need to configure your evaluation, this is still done in zSecure Audit, but the evaluation can be displayed in ZSSC. And this is again something new with 3.1.0. We have also aligned our terminology to fit the zSecure dashboard standard. So in the past, for those that have been using zSecure Audit, we used to have rule sets. Now this is control. We used to have test, and this is changed to go. So this is the reason why we have also changed some of those keywords in zSecure Audit for the ones that are familiar with the product. And this is more going into the syntax that we use in the controls and the statements. So this is especially interesting for the users that are currently using zSecure. So now we are supporting multi-standards and multi-version, which required the addition of new keywords. So one control, what do we mean with multiple standards? One control can be shared, can be part of different standards. As we saw, there was a big overlap between CS benchmark and DISA. So one specific check can be linked to those two different standards. On top of that, you can also create your own standard that reuses controls from different pre-established industry standard. So this is a very powerful capability that allows you to cherry pick and create exactly what fits the purpose of your company. So I will go a little bit more into detail. Okay, so we have the defined standard statement. So with any standard must be predefined with this statement, def_std, which describes the name and the ESM and the description of the standard. So we can create our own name. We can call the standard that you would like to call it. You can give it different versions because we support multiple versions, and you can assign the ESM that is applicable to this specific standard, and you also have the description. You can define multiple standards. I already mentioned that you can have zOS, product sticks, PCI DSS, CS, benchmark, DB2, and so on. And you can have them for one or for multiple versions. We use the standard names in the control itself as a reference. So this is how we know to which standard this control belongs to. And we also support our predefined standards. They're shipped with the C2RH at STD member. This is zSecure Carl member. You can also add your own standards, but the predefined standards are already shipped with that member. This is an example. As you can see here, we define the standard RACF product stick. And another standard also, RACF zOS stick. This is from the C2RH STD. We give it a version. Here we just say the latest, but we can also have a specific version. It can also have a range of versions. Here the example, we're just using two, but there are different options possible. And then you also assign the ESM and you give it a description. Okay, also references are used. So earlier in the presentation, I did show you the vulnerability IDs, and these are sort of references that you can enter in the controls. And here we have the vulnerability ID. This is defined with def_reference. Then you come up with the name of the reference and a description. So these are the ones that we are currently supporting in the C2RH at ref member. We have the CCI. That is the number that links to NIST. VMS, this is something specific for DISA. And the stick ID is another, this is the stick control name that we support. There are also more references. With the control statement, you assign the standard name and a version specification. So it can be used for a combination for multiple rules, which can also be used in different domains. and so on. So maybe I'm not going, this is going into too many details. So the control statement always ends with end control, and this is what we are implementing in the syntax of all those rules or recommendations, controls that you're seeing. And the control name assigns a version. As you can see, before we had single version, now we have multiple versions. They're specified just by listing the versions. You can have version range, starting from 8.1, ending with 8.4, and you can use an open-ended. So if something has not changed, if a control is applicable to all the different version revisions, normally we leave it in an open-end version range. The domain statements is also used in each and every control, each and every evaluation. It describes the new list type. A new list type is something, it is the scope of the evaluation and what the evaluation is based on. We use the select statement, so we choose the scope, then we select what we need, and then we perform the evaluation. Okay. This is more on the domain statements. And then in the control, we also have a rule. This rule describes the compliance requirement within the standard. Okay, and within a rule, you also have a goal. So goal used to be called test before. Now we have changed it into goal. But this is the smallest part of check that is part of a rule. And a rule operates on a domain. Okay, and this is for the goal. I will skip through that as we're also running a little bit late on time, but essentially we do have control, domain, rule, and goal. This is the syntax that we use to build our controls. And we also have added the apply control statement. So you can include an existing control into different standards under a different control name. So as you can see, we are using here, we're taking a control from RACF ES 110. This is a stick control. We are taking it from the standard RACF ZOS stick 8.10, and we can apply it to other standards, or we can reuse it in RACF ZOS CS version. So this gives us more flexibility to reuse controls from one standard to another. And this is how a syntax looks. I'll just open it in our evaluation. So you start with the control statement. We already covered the references here. The standard, so this is the defined standard. This is the standard that you have already defined. These are your references definitions. Then you specify them here. Then you move on to the domain selection. In this, here we're selecting all objects from class facility. And then we go to the rule specification, and the rule is normally the requirement. And the requirement is the facility resource class must be properly defined. And then we go to the granularity, which is goal. And this is where the check is evaluated. This is where the actual evaluation happened. We do check here if the class is active. And we end with end control. Okay. And finally, and then we're going to move to a live demo. You can add your own company-specific standard as well. This you can do in setup standards option. What you need to do is you need to specify the standard name. You can call it anything. I called it my local standard. Then you have to have a member where you put your definitions. The definitions like define standard, define references, any other specification, and you can give it a description that will appear in the evaluation menu. And yeah, this is more or less what you put in the my standard member. These are all the syntax and all the definitions that we covered earlier on the previous lines. You can see the define standard statement. You can see the option from, and then you have the control and so on. Okay, and apply control from here. Okay. And when you run the evaluation, your standard will appear here and you can evaluate it like any other predefined standard. Okay. And if you run it, it will, these are the two controls that you're using into your standard, which is called my control standard. You took those controls from this stick, Rakev, and this is the evaluation that it shows. So this is how you can have the capability to do your own evaluation. Okay. So this concluded the presentation session, and now I will just show you zSecure Audit in action. Okay, let's go to the, all right. So this is the ISPF primary menu. This is how you can access zSecure. Okay, so I will go to the 3.1.0 version. Okay, here you can select your licenses. I will select Audit for Rakev license. And this is the zSecure Audit for Rakev main menu. This is the different capabilities in the zSecure Audit. We are interested right now in the compliance part. I have already allocated my input files, so I will not go into setup right now. I will focus on compliance. I'll select R for compliance or for R. And this is the landing menu for audit compliance. Before you can run an evaluation of a standard, you need to configure your data sets, your allow list members, and so on, your resources. So you can use the configure option to do that, and then you can evaluate it. So I will first briefly show you the configuration, then we're going to go and run an evaluation, and also you can run different subsets or just test a single control, test a single rule with the T option. Okay. If you select configuration, you can decide on the standard that you would like to configure. You have different options for configuration. Also, you might only want to configure the resources names, allow list members, or different domain lookup members, and you can do that by subselecting the option. For example, let's see, okay, I would like to do the configurations for the allow list members. Okay, and then it opens a menu where you have all the allow list members that are used in the CS benchmark, and with a description of what you need to populate there. So here you need to populate IDs, for example, let's go a little bit further down, of system programmers or system administrators. You go and you edit a member, and you go to something like this. And here, so this is just, here it tells you that here you can store user ID and group user IDs of system programmers. So what you need to do is you need to populate a list. You need to go and check who are the system programmers in your company, and you populate the list there. And this is used for access controls, where we allow access only to certain groups on functions, certain job roles. So before you run an evaluation, you need to make sure that you have classified properly the groups and the roles within your company. Is this operation system personnel? Is this an STC? And so on. So this is an important step before running an evaluation. And the same, okay, here if you go to resource name, normally we try to programmatically determine the resources and the data sets. But if we cannot, we will ask you, and it's not that many that we cannot automatically determine, but we will ask you to populate them first so that we can do the automatic evaluation. And so you have different capabilities in the configuration menu, and then you can, once you have configured properly your data sets, you can, or resources and allow lists and so on, you can go to the evaluate menu. And this is where the standards that we support out of the box, this is where you can see all the standards. You can see the RACF stick and product stick, CS, benchmark, PCI DSS, some zSecure extra controls that we support, and CS benchmark DB2. Now, if you are to add your own customer specific standard, it will appear also in this menu here in that space, and you can run it together with the other standards that we offer out of the box. Okay, and you can further filter the results, or I want to see CS. Okay, I'll select here the standard that I'm interested now in, the DB2 CS benchmark, since it is a new standard that we offer, that we recently added. And then you can further show if you want to see it in print format, if you want to see only the compliant, the non-compliant, and or assertions that are to expire soon. So you can do those filters. I'm now gonna just run the entire standard with all the options. And it
10-minute time check, sorry.
Thank you very much. I think I'm on time, so. Okay, and here I said that we have 16 controls implemented. You can see it in here. And these are all the controls that we currently evaluate. You can see the standard name, the version of the standard, and all the IDs that are below. And in goals, this is, as I showed you in the syntax, these are the goals and the rules that we actually evaluate. And here are the different controls. I can take, here we see that we have the number of objects being evaluated, how many they are compliant, how many are unknown, exempt, suppressed, and so on. So I'm just going to pick a random control. Okay, and we can see this is control is DB2 1 to 1. 3 objects are being shown, and we have the non-compliant results. We know that this is a non-compliant, and then I can further open to see the details. Okay, so the control description or the rule was to ensure that ESM changes are accepted immediately. So we wanted the cache refresh parameter must be set to a specific value of all, and this is what we're checking here. And here we can see the goal results. So is it compliant? What is the audit finding? The actual value of the test field. Okay. The actual test that was performed. We're performing a test, compliant test type. The severity, how big impact it will have on your system, and all the details that are linked to this control. I have the standard name, the version, and you can, if you want to view the Carla or what is behind the control, you can browse and you can see exactly what we are checking here for those that are familiar with Carla. Okay, and you can do this for every standard. You can run together multiple standards. So this is what the evaluate menu offers. In subsets, we have all the different fragments. So we have all the products, but we have them by subsets here. And you can see how many controls have been implemented and available. Again, you can run evaluation from here as well, or you can do configuration, many options, and I can show you how to test one specific rule. So here you need to know the member in which the control is stored. This is the Carla member that holds the information. Single or multi-syntax, we have this before, older controls that they were using a single standard. And since we added the multi-standard, we want to give the user the capability to separate those. Okay. I have just run the control. And we can see that this control is part of 4 different standards, or one standard, but 4 different versions. So this control is applicable 10, 11, 12, and 13. And we can take the latest version, and it gives us that this is that the control is about the facility class being active. And if we scroll further, we see the details of the control like we saw in the other one. So this is how you can evaluate a single member. It can be single syntax, multi-syntax. Also, you can also do your own specification below on that screen. Okay, and this was a very general overview of the capabilities of zSecure Audit and what is new in 3.1.0. I didn't go further into details because of time limitations, of course, also, and becomes too much, but this is in general of what you can do with the zSecure Audit. And I have only worked with RACF, but this you have also available for Top Secret and for ACF2. Okay, and I think that I'm on time.
Yeah, that's great. I'll unmute everybody, and then yeah, ask if everyone wants to ask any questions, please do.
The presentation is recorded, right? So I think that if anybody can watch it, wants to watch it again, it's available.
Yeah, the presentation is recorded. Yeah, and if anybody wants to ask questions in the chat, you can field those as well. Okay, no questions, so we can just finish 1 or 2 minutes early, so perfect timing. Thank you very much for the sessions, very interesting. Just remind everybody who has participated to fill in feedback, please.
Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.